Well, ladies and gentlemen, it happened again. Yes, another coincidence around a food manufacturing fire. Yes, that's right. Another food plant in the USA just burned down overnight. This is not the first time. This keeps happening over and over and over and over again. I'm going to show you a list in a moment of a lot of these events, shall we say, that have happened just this year. But of course, everyone keeps saying it is a coincidence. In fact, the mainstream media is now going along the line of anyone that says it's not a coincidence is spreading misinformation and conspiracy theories. But it's really interesting when you actually study the data and you look at, if they'll give it you, but the insurance industry that covers factories and different industries, and you actually look at, I'm not going to show you any of this data here, but if you were to just happen to look at this data and see how many fires there were in previous years, and then you were to look at how many fires there have been over the last year, you might just see a very strange pattern here. Now, I do have some other thoughts and theories around this, and we are going to go to the shared screen. I'm going to show you a lot more than this. Payments from the government to farmers to stop farming, millions of chickens culled, and all sorts of other strange goings on at the moment. We're going to go onto the shared screen and look at all of that. But just a couple of other alternative theories I have around this. At the moment, yesterday we talked about this proxy war that we are in, and we could be in not just one proxy war, but two very, very shortly if the USA keeps making threats to China and China's making threats to Taiwan and, all this other stuff going on around that. But I was really thinking about it and trying to just get to the bottom of it. Why are all of these fires taking place? Surely they have safety things, they have sprinkler systems, some of them are concrete buildings. How a concrete building burns down, I'm not really sure. But I wanted to think about it and really just ponder upon it. And a couple of theories I have, which you may not have thought of, is one, it could simply be business owners burning down their own plants. Very, very unlikely. I think it's extremely unlikely, but I want to throw that one out there. What else could we see? This pattern isn't just in America and some places in the West. We're also seeing this now in Russia, and we're also seeing it in other places, other allies of Russia. So with all the talk of cyber attacks and other things around this, I'm just wondering if there could be something going on there. I've actually seen this myself personally in exercises and war games before, where hackers have created fires. So that could be another sort of explanation here. But do you know what? These are very, very unlikely, but I want to throw them out there because bottom line here, this is very weird. And it is weird that when I talk to people and they say, it's just a coincidence. And I say, really? You think this is a coincidence, all of these fires? And people are just adamant, yes, it's a coincidence. Well, how do you explain all of the things that are going on all at the same time, from these fires, a lot of the food manufacturers and companies and farms, etc., not getting loans from the bank or elsewhere, not being approved loans because we know all the ESG stuff. What about all of the animals that just happen to be getting all of these strange diseases all at the same time? What about the governments giving farmers subsidies to leave farming? I don't know, but it just stinks to me. But let's go on to the shared screen a moment then. And I want to start with this article here. We're not going to go through the article, but here's the headline: another US food processing plant erupts in flames. And this is today, Wednesday. Now, rather than going through all of this, I want to just show you what exactly this is. Now, I wouldn't say this is a major food processing plant. They make pizzas pretty much. That's what they do. But let me read this out. While the fire seems insignificant, it's part of a much larger issue of a spate of accidental fires, one by one, taking out America's food supply chain over the past year. And this is what I want you to focus on. Look at this list here. It just goes on and on and on and on. It just keeps going. All of these fires. And look at the date here. This is all this year, 2022. Let's just read a couple of these out there. A fire that destroyed 75,000 square foot processing plant. A fire ignited inside the Smithfield food pork processing plant. And the other thing I find really interesting is that a lot of this stuff is meat based. So we have a meat production company, JBS beef plant, we have another one here, then we have poultry, we have fertilizer plant with 600 tons of ammonium nitrate inside that just happened to set on fire. Of course, we've seen trains as well that were full of fertilizer setting on fire. At least 130 cows killed in this farm fire. Bonanza Meat Company. And then we go on to all of this. Look, chickens destroyed, chickens destroyed, chickens destroyed. Just loads and loads of them. I just think it's interesting. Why is it that it seems to be meat and animal based? I'm not seeing anything such as corn plant or wheat storage unit sets on fire or something like that. How is it all of these sort of meat plants are setting on fire? I didn't realize meat was that flammable. Turkeys, chickens, turkeys, 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 ducks, ducks, chickens, turkeys, ducks. I mean, just look at this. It is just a complete onslaught here. So let's go to the next article. And this is from agriculture.com. By the way, if you ever want to see the source, just look in the search bar here, the URL bar, and you can see the article link for yourself. So this says Colorado infections push HPAI losses above 40 million birds. So more than 40 million birds in domestic flocks, mostly chickens and turkeys, have died in the worst outbreak of bird flu since the 2014 to 15 epidemic, according to the USDA. So this data was released on Monday. The outbreaks have killed 6% of the egg-laying hens in the country. Now, I think this is a typo here, but it says that overall, they've lost 17.6 billion birds. I think this must mean million. If you think it is billion, please drop it in the comments below, but that seems a little extreme. I'm just going to assume it's supposed to be a million there, but either way, 40 million birds either lost or culled. Let's go on to the next article then. And this is news from around the world, in particular about meat. Now, this is a really weird one. New Zealand is to introduce a tax on sheep and cattle burps. Yes, that does say burps, in an attempt to tackle one of the country's largest sources of greenhouse gases. It would be the first country in the world to charge farmers for the methane emissions for the animals they keep. Now look, I've highlighted this word in pink here because it says there were more than 36 million sheep, beef and dairy cattle in New Zealand in 2020. Now, why have I highlighted the word were here? Well, because I think the number is a lot less now, but we don't have that data. You can go through and just look at all of this stuff. More than 3,000 cows in New Mexico have been culled after toxic pollution from a nearby US military base was found to have contaminated their water source. African swine fever is estimated to have led to a 40% reduction in the Chinese pig herd. Germany has reported a new outbreak of the deadly pig disease African swine fever, ASF, on a farm more than 300 miles from where other cases have been registered and just 4 miles from the French border. And then we go over to the UK. A campaign group has urged councils to drop meat from school dinners at least 2 days a week, despite critics saying activists are ignoring evidence. And consumers could be hit with higher egg prices as UK farmers reduce their flock numbers in response to escalating costs and insufficient profit margins. Can you see what is going on here in terms of, say, poultry and flocks? Fires, we're seeing viruses affecting them. And now, of course, they want to reduce the flocks due to costs. So you've got 3 things going on here that weren't going on before. Just a little bit suspicious to me. And then finally then, I wanted to show you this. And again, I talked about this a while ago and people said, oh, you're making it up. This is a lie and I'm going to report your videos to YouTube making this up. Okay, this time I'm going to make sure that you can see the URL bar here and we can see the full article. In fact, let me refresh the browser here. There we go, it's been refreshed, and you can see there's nothing fake. This is the government website of the UK. How to apply for a lump sum payment to leave or retire from farming. 12th of April 2022. So about the lump sum exit scheme. The scheme is for BPS, so Basic Payment Scheme, applicants in England who wish to leave farming. Why would they be putting this out when we have a shortage of food? Why would people want to leave farming? That doesn't make much sense. Who is eligible? For your farm business. Before you receive the lump sum payment, you must do all of the following. Transfer your agricultural land in England, but you can keep up to 5 hectares or plant it with trees, look at this, under a woodland creation scheme. I wonder if this is anything to do with ESG mandates or carbon. Transfer grazing and pannage rights you have on common land in England where required. Give up, surrender your English BPS entitlements. And again here it talks in detail about entering your land into woodland creation schemes. So I've got to be honest, that really doesn't make much sense to me. If we have a shortfall of food in the world right now, and we have farms where we can grow food. I mean, you've seen in terms of vegetables how expensive vegetables are getting now. If we have farms in, let's say, England or the UK or in other places, and we can grow crops, we can grow food, and we can help to minimize the famine and food shortages that are on the way. In fact, the famine is already here. It's hit the developing nations first, as I alluded to previously. Why would the government pay farmers to leave farming? Think about that for a moment. Does that make any sense? Does any of this make sense to you? Because honestly, it doesn't make sense to me at all, unless I put my conspiracy theorist hat on and start going down that rabbit hole. But apart from that, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. So drop your comments below. What do you think is actually going on here? Especially me pulling these articles together there. What do you think is actually happening? Why is the government paying farmers to leave farming? Why are all of these fires taking place? Is it cyber attacks? Is it people burning down their own businesses? Is it activists? Is it vandals? Or is it something else? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Apart from that, thanks for watching today. Take care. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow.